Are they going to be able to kill Captain Traore? When I see the crowds outside his presidential headquarters saying you'll have to kill us first, I'm filled with joy and pride at that. How do you think the rest of Africa feels about that?
So I love the fact that the crowd gathered around his place and they say, no, you have to kill us before you kill him. But that's not even the protection that Ibrahim has. Okay, that's a good one. And I love it because in the last few weeks, I have been getting some information from sources I trust that a lot of Africans have been trooping into Burkina Faso, asking to be shown what to do to be able to stand and fight alongside Ibrahim Traore. So Burkina Faso is no longer a Sahelian thing. It's not an African revolution movement. That's what you see going on there. But here's why I believe they are not going to succeed this time with Ibrahim Traore. I was explaining this to a South African news network a few days ago. I said, you see, no matter how you feel about your Africanness, we have already been crippled from the start. We are starting from a place of weakness on a race for life. Everybody is about to run, but we are crippled. We're running with one leg, one foot, and the rest of the people have their pair on the mark, ready to go. And then you give a gunshot and we start running on one foot and the rest are running on the pair. This is what has happened to Africa all along. And I've been saying to people that as much as we want to feel so good about ourselves, as much as it makes for a really good sensual indulgence to think that, yeah, we can stand on our own, you really can't. We need a superpower that can say, I am going to align with you guys, okay? I really have some sort of enmity between me and your real enemy, which is the colonial powers. And if I can align with you, I can help you to decouple from the colonial powers. That has been my prayer for so many years, George. And that happened recently between Russia and the West, because the West kept going to Russia. You remember, of course, I've seen your show and I've talked about this for so many years about what happened between Russia and Ukraine, how that so many people are ignorant of what really went down, how that you told someone, I am not going to move 1 inch east, and then all of a sudden you've taken almost all the countries that were there that belong to that east. And now you expect the guy to be happy when you have come now right to his border. And then you think he's going to be okay. So when Russia saw all of that, Russia already knew and knows that the biggest thing you can, the worst thing you can ever do to the colonial West is to take away the feeding bottle of the Africans, of African wealth from their mouth. And so Russia decided, you know what, maybe this is just time for me to start helping these guys to decouple from the colonial West. And that's exactly what happened. France has been getting our African countries. George, if you have time, I'll tell you this now. There was a news article that came out in 2017 by a German newspaper. According to that news article, they gained access to an information which they published verbatim about 440 billion euros, or maybe 500, was being paid to France every single year by African countries. I'm talking 14 French colonies in Africa. 14 colonies paying this to France every single year. And that's why Jacques Chirac, the former president of France, said, and I quote, he said, we have to be honest and acknowledge that the big part of the money in our banks comes precisely from the exploitation of the African continent. And in 2008, he followed it up with this. He said, without Africa, France will slide down in the rank of a third world power. This is buttressing the fact that without Africa, the colonial West is going to be in a big mess, especially France, which I regard as the worst of all the colonial powers in the world. So when Russia showed up, guess where it started from? It was from the Sahel, one of the French colonies, and that was Mali. And then after Mali, it was Burkina Faso. And then after Burkina Faso, it was Niger. And now let me break it down to the level people can understand. Let me tell you what really happened. So as these things are happening, Russia is providing logistics to make all this transformation happen. The true independence we're having in Africa today is all in the Sahel. And after that, Russia now goes into a security agreement with them. And when you come into a security pact or agreement with Russia, it simply means that when you get attacked, Russia is going to have to do something about that. So whoever is coming to attack you must take into cognizance the fact that Russia is on ground. And so you are attacking them, you are also attacking Russia. And Russia will bring their full military might in response to whatever attack you mete out to these countries. In 2000, between 2023 and 2024, Russia sent about 100 boots on ground after sending a bunch of military weapons, hardware, and stuff like that to Burkina Faso. And guess what? When the Kursk incursion, which I call Ukrainian misadventure, that was meant to distract Russia from its mission in Africa, when that happened, Russia had to cut down on the number of troops that were in Burkina Faso and quickly send them to Kursk. And which means that whatever the West did through Ukraine worked by distracting Russia. So they took some of the guys to Kursk to go and fight alongside the North Koreans and the other guys who were fighting to rescue that country and at the or that region. So at the end of the day, they have now fewer troops, Russian troops on ground that are there to protect Ibrahim Traore. That is apart from the guys that are very close to him in his protection. Guess what? At the end of the day, the mission of this troop, 100 troops that Russia sent, was not only just to provide security from terrorism in the country. They were also meant to train the Burkinabe soldiers. So thankfully, a lot of soldiers have been trained in intelligence, in counterintelligence or counterinsurgency and all kinds of stuff. And those ones were able to work with the little contingent that Russia had on ground to be able to foil all the many numerous assassination attempts that I'm pretty sure you must have heard of, George, against this young man.
Sure.
In the past, this kind of thing never goes on. There's no way you will be an Ibrahim Traore in the 1960s and 70s and 80s and you will still be alive by this time. It is because the game is now being played differently, and so being able to catch him and kill him is going to be an uphill task for the colonial powers that be today.
Let me shock you right now. Do you know in Burkina Faso, students are not allowed to wear wig? We've won white men, white women hair, both in their primary school, high school, university. Take a look at this picture you are seeing. These people in this picture right now, they are students in Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traore told them, you can't try it. Wear white men, white women hair. Remove your own natural hair. Carry their own. Put for your hair. Costly. It's no longer happening in Burkina Faso right now. He banned it. You must treat your own hair, natural hair. You must train it. You must maintain it. Take a look at these people you are seeing their hair. Beautiful. Nice in Burkina Faso. See, only those of us that sees far, we know what this young guy is trying to do in Burkina Faso, in Africa at large. Yes, Ibrahim Traore is trying to bring back our glory, our value, our culture, our tradition here in Africa. I still don't understand why our women remove their natural hair, go buy white women hair, their natural hair. Costly, remove their own, carry those people own, put for their hair. I still don't understand. We don't value ourselves. We don't love ourselves. We don't love who we are. But in Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore said, enough is enough. You must treat your own. You must maintain it. You must not go buy white women hair. Do you also know that in Burkina Faso, students are no longer wearing white men school uniform? Take a look at this. Locally made, manufactured in Burkina Faso, they are wearing. This guy, Ibrahim Traore, is a God sent. He's a God sent, trying to bring Africa back to its glory.
So we have some major breaking news coming from Burkina Faso. This one is the latest. So yesterday there were some terrorists who wanted to attack Burkina Faso. They had prepared everything. They were very much prepared to go and attack the civilians and cause a lot of chaos. This is latest news. But let me tell you, Burkina Faso plus the Russian and the North Korean soldiers were able to neutralize all of them. The videos that are coming from this incident are very, very graphic. I won't put for them here. They had over 500,000 ammunition. You can imagine how their colonial power is trying as much as possible to ensure that they are destabilized so that they can take control of their minerals. Let me tell you, they neutralized all of them. There are so many videos, drone videos, showing how they were being neutralized, those terrorists, and Ibrahim Traore has been able to deal with them. I'm telling you, you don't want to see the videos. You can get them in X. You just go and search dealing with terrorists in Burkina Faso. And I'm telling you, the technology that they used plus all the sophisticated weapons and drones were able to neutralize almost all the terrorists in the northern part of Burkina Faso. This is latest news. It just happened yesterday.
We have major and important news coming from Rwanda, Libya, and United States all together. Take a look at this. The news said that United States in discussion with Libya and Rwanda to deport most dangerous criminals, immigrants, deport them from United States to Rwanda and to Libya. Now guess what? Rwanda government have confirmed this news. They say they are in talk with US government for them to deport the most criminals, immigrants that have been in prison in United States. Donald Trump want to send them to Rwanda. Rwanda have confirmed this news. As you can see, what is happening. I don't tire for African leaders for their matter. I don't. I just feel headache every time I see such thing happening. Just take a look at it. Now the question is, can Rwanda do the same to United States? Can they send immigrants, criminals that have been in prison in Rwanda? Can they send them also to United States? So now they are building more prisons in Rwanda. Now what happens if Donald Trump deport these criminals, immigrants? Let's say they are not from the United States. What happens if he deport them to the various countries? What happens? Or does it mean that United States no longer have prisons, or they don't have land, places they will build more prisons? I just tire for African leaders. They can sell a lot because of peanuts. This man, I even think say this man they different from other African leaders. Now I know say this man even worse. Sometimes we'll be like, I'm not with these Western leaders, I hate them, I do this, I do that. But take a look at African leaders always feel inferior, while United States always feel superior. Can Donald Trump accept this kind of offer? No, but he's busy deporting everybody without documents back to their countries. Now all these immigrants, they don't have documents. So Rwanda is now a dumping ground for immigrants. Something that can never happen in Burkina Faso. Guys, what do you think about this? I just tired. I just feel headache. Since I read this news, I just feel headache. My head just hot anyhow.
You see these three men in this picture? These are three men that I respect. The president of Mali, the president of Niger, the president of Burkina Faso, the ones that came together and made sure that they ran those French colonizers up out of there where they can't keep taking the resources, the gold, the minerals, all the lithium up out of Africa. They actually want to improve their people. They want to bring them out of poverty. All the rest of you leaders over there in Africa that don't give a damn about your people and y'all want to keep them in poverty while y'all enrich the life of other foreign countries, are y'all stupid? Like, do y'all not think that the people will rise and come against you and realize what y'all are doing is not godly at all? Real talk, man. It's time we take our power back. We need to have a domino effect for what these young men are doing. Real talk. Like the same way they standing up against them colonizers, every other leader in Africa should be doing the same thing. If you're not doing what they're doing, you are a sellout and you are not for the people and you do not belong in Africa. You belong with the colonizers. Take y'all ass to France with them. Go to England. We do not need you in Africa.
Europeans have always defamed heroes because colonialism wasn't just about stealing land. It was about stealing memory. It was about rewriting who deserved to be remembered and who deserved to be erased. And when they couldn't erase, when the drumbeat of revolution was too loud, when the people refused to die quietly, they did what cowards do. They lied. They slandered. They distorted. They named every act of resistance a crime, called every rebellion disorder, every revolutionary a tyrant, every freedom fighter a warlord, because they knew something that most history books still won't admit. The heroes of the colonized were the executioners of empire. Let's be precise. Haiti, Toussaint Louverture, organized the only successful slave revolution in history. He defeated France, Spain, and Britain in battle. Yet French textbooks called him a loyal servant who turned into a dangerous extremist. American ones barely mention him. And Napoleon? They still teach his military genius. Not the fact that he re-legalized slavery and starved Haiti for embargoes for daring to be free. Burkina Faso, Thomas Sankara, renamed the country from Upper Volta, a name the French gave it based on a river, to Burkina Faso, land of upright people. He banned female genital mutilation, ended government corruption, and made the country food self-sufficient in 4 years. But go read Western media from the time. They called him anti-West, too idealistic, a dictator in disguise. Why? Because he told the IMF, World Bank, and France to go to hell. And that's the one thing Europe can't forgive. Sovereignty. The Congo. Patrice Lumumba's only crime was wanting an Africa that didn't bow. He warned that colonialism never left, just changed its clothing. Belgium tortured and assassinated him with CIA help. Then they kept his tooth. Yes, Europe literally extracted and hoarded his remains like relics. And for 60 years, European journalists called his death necessary. Only in 2022 did they reluctantly give the tooth back. A single tooth. No apology. No indictment. Kenya, Dedan Kimathi, led the Mau Mau rebellion against British rule. He was executed by the British in 1957. For decades, Britain called him a terrorist. They buried him in an unmarked grave. Meanwhile, they ran concentration camps. Yes, literal ones. For Kikuyu civilians, tortured children, and castrated prisoners. But somehow Kimathi was the savage? India, Bhagat Singh, was 23 when the British hanged him. The Empire called him a dangerous anarchist. Today they say he was too radical, because he didn't ask for freedom. He demanded it. The Philippines, Andres Bonifacio, founder of the Katipunan revolutionary movement, was branded by Spanish friars as a bandit. His crime? Declaring independence from Spanish rule and trying to redistribute land. Europeans always found brown revolutionaries more dangerous than brown kings. Because a revolutionary doesn't just want a crown, he wants justice. The Americas, every indigenous leader who resisted genocide was labeled a criminal. Crazy horse? Hostile? Sitting bull? Threat to order. Tupac Amaru II? Traitor to Spain. Tecumseh? Enemy of civilization. And civilization? The ones that used smallpox blankets and massacred entire cities? That civilization? Even their own exiles weren't safe from slander. Simón Bolívar, who liberated half of South America from Spanish rule, was called ungrateful by Spanish historians. Che Guevara, who challenged American imperialism in Latin America and Africa, was smeared for decades as a murderer by the same CIA that funded fascist dictatorships across the globe. Nanny of the Maroons in Jamaica, leader of guerrilla resistance against the British, was described as a dangerous influence on the slaves. Notice the pattern? If you kill for empire, they call you a hero. If you fight back, they call you a threat. They gave medals to the monsters who ran the Belgian Congo, but jail time to the men who fought to liberate it. They put Winston Churchill, who starved millions in Bengal, on the 5-pound note, and put revolutionaries in unmarked graves. Even their silence is violence. Europe has thousands of statues of mass murderers. Columbus, Leopold, Rhodes. But where are the monuments to Louverture, Sankara, Lumumba, Ya Asantewa, Queen Nzinga, Boudica, Nani, Kimathi, Bhagat Singh, Tupac Katari, Malcolm X? They don't just omit, they erase. They don't just slander, they sanctify their villains and bury our saints. And let's not forget, they even slandered the colonized version of Christ, Jesus, a dark-skinned, anti-empire, anti-moneylender, table-flipping revolutionary, was turned into a blonde-haired, blue-eyed empire mascot. The same Rome that crucified him built cathedrals in his name. The same Europe that enslaved millions spread Christianity with whips and guns. They turned liberation theology into imperial doctrine, because even their religion is a rebrand. So when they call your heroes violent, when they call your resistance chaos, when they tell you you're rewriting history, remember, Europeans have always defamed heroes. Because if they ever told the truth, their whole house of cards would collapse. Cope.
On the 30th of April 2025, a lot of Africans came out in support of Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. We all know what was going on the internet. We saw the news that the West are interfering in governance in Burkina Faso. So a lot of Africans, even African Americans, came out in solidarity to protest against such actions against the current leadership of Burkina Faso. Now in Nigeria, we have a comrade named Kola Edokpaye. He also came out on that 30th of April. Guess what? The DSS arrested him. And by the time they will give us a statement or the charges as to why he was arrested, they said it's an illegal possession. Since when has protest become a crime? Protest is not a crime. DSS should free Comrade Kola Edokpaye. It's not a crime at all. Thank you.
South African government officially suspended all businesses, all US businesses within South Africa. Can you believe this? That's not even all. They also stopped exportation of minerals to USA. They are saying that US is nothing without African minerals. And this is true. The West is nothing without African minerals. And this is why they benefit. They want chaos in Africa so that they can benefit. When Africa unite, they don't benefit. And this is why, especially EU, they want to come to Africa. They're saying that they want to stop all the coup that is happening in West Africa. According to them, there is chaos in Africa and it needs to stop. South Africa did this after US cut off all their funding, and also they cut off all US aid to South Africa. South Africa is not scared of Trump. Can you believe this? Can you believe this step? What they just did? Just like Ibrahim Traore, they are not scared. And they will not be controlled by anyone or pushed by anyone. They officially say that US is nothing without African minerals and they must come to an agreement.
My people, Ibrahim Traore has decided to tell Nigeria, if they can't get a leader who is not corrupt, a leader who is not a puppet to the Europeans, they will continue suffering. And this is because he actually came to realize that Nigeria is number 5 top producing oil in the world, not in Africa, in the world. And remember, Qatar is 10 times richer than Nigeria. You won't believe this, but let me tell you, this is the truth and this is the fact. let me tell you, Africans leaders, you have to wake up, because these European nations keep on sucking things from Africa, keep on benefiting from Africans, because they know what they are giving and they all know what they are taking from Africans. They'll still stick on Africans until you wake up and do away with them totally. Or rather, they will continue colonizing Africans and calling Africans useless words, calling Africans poor, calling Africans a lot of things. But at the end of the day, they will still stick because they know what they are getting from Africans. Yeah, and most of them end up saying, you cannot do without the white. Why are they not leaving? Because they think we need them in Africa.
So Ibrahim Traore effects as France's economy is in dilemma right now. So it's been reported that more than 50,000 jobs lost. So people are filing for bankruptcy. So it's only 3 countries that stop France from robbing their natural resources. Imagine if it was all African countries telling France to stop robbing their natural resources. What will happen to the France economy? So France without Africa, what do they think? Let me know.